Okay. Well, you can't hear if you have your headphones on, Neil.
All right, I know. I'm gonna take them off. I just want to hear you guys
Testing 1 2.
One,
Can
two.
you hear? You got to hear it from your phone.
at least.
Do you have your Apple AirPods on?
Yeah. Nah. But you're good.
No, you got to go on to live on YouTube to make sure the volume.
Yeah, I will. But you guys. All right, now you guys are live. All right, ready?
Testing 1 2.
1 2 1 2. Test 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 test.
Testing. 1 2.
Let me see your phone.
You're good.
I don't. I have to double check.
I can hear you. You're good.
Testing 1 2. Will you have your headset on?
Yeah, you're good.
I can't hear myself. There we go.
Short delay.
Yeah, it's a little. It's like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right, let's get it started. Okay. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'm your host, Stephen G. Gaxiola, and you are listening to the Raider and the Saint podcast. Pick number 3. Let me hear you. 1 2.
1 2 1
You're
2.
number 2
Test,
and
test,
you're
test.
1. We'll hear you.
1 2.
Okay, we're good.
Cool intro.
We need teams. We need teams to do this stuff, man.
Yeah.
We need full team. It's just you two guys, right?
Sometimes I bring in like a tech to be our tech.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if it's just the Zoom, I do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buddy here isn't up to it. I'm gonna give you one last chance to walk out that door right now. That's a good one, Todd. Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Because in this silver slice of heaven, 1,984 ounces of beer, golden
You guys
delicious
want to
beer, leaves here until we finish every single last drop.
And once again, we are back. We are live, folks. We are live on YouTube. It is a beautiful Sunday midday. Today's episode is episode 252. Today's date is September 28th. The year is 2025. If you guys are watching live, I got 2 new guests today. If you guys are tuning in audio, which this will be uploaded later today, I got 2 new guests today. They are from the Union or Bust podcast. To my right, and to the camera to the left, I got Juan Perez. So what's up to Juan?
Hi, everybody.
And then I got Chris Lopez over here.
How's everyone
To my
doing?
left, to camera right. Yeah. Yeah. Before I get to them, I want to thank my past guest, Anthony Depiche. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on. Thank you for everyone that tuned in live last Sunday. It was a pleasure to have him. It was my first time doing YouTube live split screen, so there was a couple of technical difficulties. We had a kink out with technology, with the wires and everything. I mean, things are bound to happen. It happens, but everything went smooth after a couple of trial and errors. But thank you everyone that subscribed. You know, it was pretty cool. You know, and thanking everyone who tuned in. There was quite a few people that tuned in. Thank you guys so much for the support, and thank you so much, Anthony Depiche. He's a really good guy. If you guys didn't hear the show, go back and listen to episode 251. He's a really good guy. Love having him on the show, and I'm this towel in my head. And he's just man, I met him a couple years ago, and he's just been a real solid dude. He's got a lot of people that stand behind him, and he's doing a lot of good things for the community. So once again, Anthony, thank you so much. If you guys want to be a guest on the show, got questions, suggestions, just want to say hi, you can get a hold of me at theraiderandthesaint.com. That's theraiderandthesaint.com. That takes you to all my link trees, all my social medias. You can also email me at theraiderandthesaint@outlook.com. That is theraiderandthesaint@outlook.com. Please, you know, I'm starting a YouTube channel, so please subscribe. like this show. You know, give me thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. It helps get the information out there. Whatever I'm talking about, whether it's organizing, union, politics, influence, encouragement. You know, it just helps the show grow, and it is growing. Just started doing YouTube again, so thank you for my cameraman. Once again, my cameraman, James Nava. I forgot to say last week, he did go to UPS driving school, and he went last week, and then he just passed. So I want to congratulate him for that. You know what I mean? He just went for 5 days, sat in a hotel by himself, you know, and studied, and then went to school during the day. So he went to school during the day, and then at night he went home and studied. But he passed, so he'll start driving Tuesday for Huntington Center. Good luck with that, James. Proud of you, my boy. Proud of you. Before we get the show started, I want to take a moment of silence for Shelma Reina Guerrero. She's from Richmond, California. She was 43 years old. And if you guys haven't heard, she passed away. She worked at UPS. She passed away last Sunday, actually. It was a week ago, or might have been Sunday early morning. I think they said Sunday. I don't know if hubs are open on Sunday. But Sunday, I found out she had passed away. Tragic. Something happened inside the trailers. I don't want to go into detail, but I know she leaves 5 kids, and it's a very devastating story. OSHA and the police are investigating it, so I don't want to go into details how she passed, but there was something that went wrong at UPS, and other than that, I don't want to go into start talking shit about the company or anything like that. But I'm gonna just get a quick moment of silence for her. All right, we're back. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Chris Lopez, Juan Perez, once again, welcome. If you guys don't know them, they have a podcast called Union or Bust. They made the trip down here from San Diego. It's an honor to have you guys on the show. I try to do YouTube. I gave you guys an option. We could do YouTube virtual. We could do it. You guys don't have to drive down here, but you guys wanted to make the trek. So thank you so much for doing it. I like having people on the show physically, you know what I mean? I've done phone calls and I've done videos. So won't you tell the audience a little bit about you guys yourselves?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having us. Hey, everybody. Juan Perez, Organizing Monster on Instagram, X, and TikTok. And yeah, we have a podcast. It's called Union or Bust, and it's dedicated to the labor movement. And we bring on guests too. We like having them in person, so that's why you vibe more in person.
Yeah.
Body language is like 70% of communication. So you miss a lot of that if it's just a Zoom, and it's just more intimate. And that's why we wanted to come in person. It's not a far drive for us to come. So, so that's who I am.
How about you, Chris?
Well, I'm Chris Lopez, your union brother on TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms. And I think this podcast, we're real humbled that I think this is the first podcast we've been invited to. So thank you very much, Stephen, for doing that. And I guess our podcast kind of started with Street Fighter 2, because that's how we met.
That's true.
No way.
Yeah, we found out we like Street Fighter 2, and
And we started going to the bar and playing each other. We'd kick each other's ass.
Okay, so what year was this?
2019.
2019. We met in 2019, yeah.
Yeah.
2019. So you guys got involved? Like, were you guys doing tournaments? Because I used to play Street Fighter 2 growing up.
Oh.
We used to play, there used to be one at 7-Eleven up the street. And so we would walk to school and we would play. 7-Eleven had one, and then there was a donut shop next door. They had the Street Fighter Turbo, where you could throw as many Hadoukens, as much as you can. And then growing up, when I was younger, even younger than that, I was probably in junior high, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. We would camp out in my backyard. My dad would let my friends come over. We'd camp out, and we would sneak out. And we would sneak out at like around 3 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning, and we would go up to this liquor store because I grew up, in this area. We would walk over there. We would have a handful of quarters. We would get donuts. We would get soda, and we would just play Street Fighter all morning, dude, till like 8, 9 in the morning. And at one point, my dad, he'd work on Saturdays, So he started at like 5 in the morning. So one time at like 4 in the morning, he came into the liquor store for coffee. And I remember we were hiding behind the machine, the Street Fighter machine. But so what got you guys involved in Street Fighter? Like how did this happen?
Well-
Go in more detail.
Well, I worked at 7-Eleven, so I was
Okay.
a ringer.
Yeah, but he didn't
Oh.
disclose that. He didn't disclose he worked at 7-Eleven. Well, the reason USCW wasn't part of the Labor Council, then they got rid of their leadership, then they joined the Labor Council. That's where I met Chris once he joined the Labor Council and meetings and whatnot. And then we're like, hey, you like playing Street Fighter? All right, let's go. Let's go to Coin Op. I think it's called Coin Op. And we were playing. Yeah, and Chris was all good. He switched characters. And then he's just the ringer. And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's so good. And then he told me, like, oh, yeah, I used to work at 7-Eleven. Play every fucking
Okay.
day. And I'm like, no shit. Like,
What fighter did you guys use?
Well, he used Guile.
Guile, okay.
And then I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool, Guile. The problem is you know, he got all cocky when he was playing. Like it was actually a close game, and I was
Yeah.
like, not even trying. You know, I was trying, but it's not my normal guy. And he's like, I got you, bitch. I'm like, all right, wait up. So I busted out Blanca, and
Yeah.
I kicked his ass from then on out.
it's like,
Wow.
Like that. Anyways, that's where it all started. We started hanging out since then. He works for USCW. I work for IATSE.
Yeah, that was my next question. Where you work at?
IATSE,
IATSE? What do they do there?
we're the stagehands union. So we do conferences, conventions,
Okay.
theater, and we're the stagehands behind the scenes. The audio, video, lighting, rigging, camera work, all of this is done by IATSE. And I'm the organizer on staff.
Okay. Okay.
I'm the union representative for UFCW Local 135.
Okay.
We represent Vaughn's, Rouse, Albertsons, but Kaiser, the clinical lab scientists, MLTs, pharmacy assistant. We represent Viejas Casino. So if you ever want to go lose your money at a union casino,
Invest.
invest.
I think I'm gonna have to take this down, dude. It's blowing and it's making all kinds of noise. Do you
No
mind?
worries. No, go for
as
it.
soon as we started, the wind started kicking. Give me a second,
Yeah,
folks. You
yeah.
guys can keep talking about yourselves. It's good.
Cool.
Well, anyway,
Yeah, you didn't disclose that you worked at 7-Eleven.
yeah.
I remember when you told me that, I was like, what the fuck? I'm all buzzing in, like just I'm all drunk. Probably not buzzing in. I was probably drunk. And
But then after that, you know, we got really involved, you know, doing like, you know, going out to different actions. I think when the podcast really kicked off is when we went on the UFW march. That was like a big thing where
in 2022.
too, yeah. And then
2022.
we wanted to talk about it. I know we were talking about it to other and want to tell the world about it. And
Yeah, we started going live on Instagram.
yeah,
Remember?
we did.
That's where it all started.
Yeah.
We went live on Instagram. And that's when we called Gavin Newsom bitch.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's where it all started. And yeah, we started the podcast in 2022, October. So we're going up on 3 years.
Yeah.
How long have you had the podcast, Steven?
I started in late 2019, October.
Also October.
So there you go.
Also 6 years.
Dang.
No, I know. Like, you know Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
I watch some of his videos here and there. And he says, like, wait until you reach your 100th episode of a podcast. That's when you're like kind of survived and you made it. And you've learned the intricacies of podcasting, the thumbnails, how to do an intro, how to interview people, how to talk, and the graphics. So we're at 47. we're almost halfway to 100 episodes, but our jobs are killing us.
Yeah, they are. We have our full-time jobs. We,
Yeah.
you know, we wanted to dedicate a podcast to the labor movement. And, you know, on the podcast, I always say, and the main thing is to keep the main thing, and that's kitchen table economics. Because right now, like 65% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. People have trouble paying their rent. So, you know, we wanted to unite everyone. Doesn't matter what party you're a part of. You know, I think the labor movement transcends political parties, and you know, we wanted to create. You know, Your Union Brother was created specifically for the podcast,
Mhm.
organizing Monster, and because everyone knows there's a million Chris Lopez's,
Mhm.
there's a million Juan Perez's, so you know we really kind of realized it when we were doing some podcasts as we went to labor notes, and they're all your union brother, organizing Monster. So we wanted to create something where we would stand out, kind of
Yeah.
like your Raider in the same podcast. I guess that's a pretty sick name.
Yeah, yeah. We talk a lot about union. I'm deeply I'm a Teamster. You know what I mean? So it's I have to talk about what's going on with union with Teamsters, and I've had other different union groups on this show, and it's important. It's important. One thing I learned was as being a Teamster or a union member, dude, like it doesn't stop just going to work and saying I'm part of the union. Like you got to go and do your part. You got to go out and picket. You got to go attend your meetings. And I want to bring awareness. I'm doing my part, right? Like, getting people on and talking about what's going on around here. Because some people, like I know people live busy lives. Who does it? I can't make the meeting this weekend. My kid's got a soccer game, or this and that. And it's like, I get it, dude, but it's once a month. It's not like they're asking. It's once a month. It's an hour and a half long. Now we got video. You can video the game, but like we have to, do our part, to keep the union strong, because today the union is under attack no more than ever. We have a president that's in there that does not like unions. So we're at a time where it's more crucial. They want to eliminate unions. They don't want unions for some weird reason. I don't know why. Don't you want to take care of your people?
No, I mean, being union is definitely a lifestyle. It's not a job. It's us taking ownership of our work and our environment and our homes too, because we better the lives of everybody. As in, like, we want you to make more money. We want you to have health care. We want you to have retirement. So when you retire, you have money. And we want you to have a good family at home and everything like that. But in order for that to exist, you need to put a little bit more into this. You're not clocking in or clocking out. Well, a lot of this stuff is volunteer time. Like, it's optional. But volunteer is how the union runs. These meetings are volunteer. I mean, like, you don't get paid for them. So I think that's what it takes. And I think people are realizing that, though, now, like, more than ever. People are realizing that unions are the way to go, because we have a 70% approval rating now, highest it's ever been since the 50s, 40s. So people are realizing that union is the way. But what people don't know is how. How do we union? How do we organize? How do we grow the labor movement? And I think having podcasts like this and ours is we're trying to educate everybody on that process.
And you guys had a good job, been doing a good job, but just the small amount. What do you guys got? 46 episodes? 47 episodes.
No big deal.
I mean, but you guys have some big guests. I mean, recently you just had Chris Smalls on. He was just. Is he part of that? No, he's not part of the journey, because he took a ship to Israel
Flotilla.
or Gaza, and what was it called?
A flotilla.
The flotilla. And they got a hold of him. Like, I didn't get a chance to listen to the show, but can you talk to me a little bit about that show? Like, did you ask him those questions? Like, because I heard he got captive. He got captured, and like, did he get beat up? I mean, did he get like, what happened to him?
It's a juicy episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I want to.
There's a lot of stuff in there. One of the things is when he was abducted and kidnapped, we noticed that, and I know Juan noticed that, the people that were taking pictures with him, like AOC or Bernie Sanders or Sean O'Brien or whoever, and they didn't say anything about it. Like, they remained silent. And Chris Smalls is one of the biggest labor leaders that's of our time. And, we're working on a resolution, and we're like the first labor council to declare a genocide in Gaza. The San Diego Imperial Counties also condemned the abduction and assault of Chris Smalls. So labor, it's about solidarity. An injury to one is an injury to all. So when we kind of saw, like, people weren't, that it kind of emboldens us even more. So the episode is kind of about that.
Mhm.
It also talks about how people tried to stop the resolution.
Mhm.
They talk about that. You know, Juan can AFL-CIO, holy cow, they sent down a representative to actually try to stop the resolution.
Mhm.
And well, that didn't happen, and it passed unanimously. That's what it is. It's
Mhm.
about all of that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I know he was organized. He started off organizing Amazon. Did
Yeah.
we get parts of Amazon organized? Did we get them unionized, or is that still ongoing?
So he organized Amazon in Staten Island
Mhm.
in 2021, I believe.
And they're
they're
unionized.
unionized.
What's the union called again?
So they're ALU, Amazon Labor Union.
Mhm.
They were independent at 1st
Mhm.
and then they affiliated with the Teamsters.
Mhm.
I believe they affiliated last year. These dates are always fucked
Yeah,
up.
you're fine.
Yeah, so they affiliated with the Teamsters, and now, but they're still fighting for a contract. So they're unionized,
Mhm.
but they don't have a contract.
Okay,
yet.
same thing over here.
Yeah.
They're unionized. I know 396 unionized a lot of Amazon. So
Oh, really?
yeah. They're unionized. I know for sure. Lancaster was one. That's where because I went to when they were first trying to organize.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends, shout out to Viviana Gonzalez. She was one of the organizers at the time. I don't know if she's still organizing. Actually, she's still organizing, but she invited me over there, and I went live. Like you guys were talking about earlier, I was going live on Instagram for a while, so I went live on Instagram, interviewed a couple of the Amazon drivers, and yeah, a lot of them are part of 396 now.
Mm.
So it's a fight. It's a long fight. I mean, man, the people Amazon hires to try to dismantle the organization of Amazon is crazy, dude. Like they're spending millions of dollars on this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, why is it so hard? You know, why are you such against making people's lives better? You know,
Well, I think to us, it's a no-brainer. Like everybody should have living wages, healthcare, and a pension. But we're not the same as Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos has a yacht. Jeff Bezos went to
I
space.
think he's got more than just a yacht. He's got a couple of them.
So, but in order for him to have a yacht or a couple of yachts and go to space and have spaceships, he needs to exploit his workers. That's the only way these people make that kind of money that's real. I think he'd still be rich as hell if he gave everything that we demand, which is living wages, healthcare, and benefits. He'd still be rich, but not as rich as he is right now. But I don't think it's all about money all the time. It's about power. Once you unionize a workplace and you have a union contract and you can put your foot down when something's unsafe and you will not get fired, that's shifting the power dynamics. That's what they don't want. When you can tell your boss, no, I'm not going to do this. It's raining. I'm not going to plug this generator in because I can get electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
That's shifting the power dynamics. And when the boss has to sit down with you and negotiate some wages, they don't want to have to do that. They want to just give you whatever they want to give you. So it's about power. When a company I helped organize a few years ago, Encore, they spent over 400 grand union busting for 4 months. It was during the pandemic. So the election got delayed. And they have unlimited money. They're owned by Blackstone. They spent 400 grand.
Geez.
I was telling guys, if they would have paid you guys $1 more an hour, this campaign would have been over, because that's how desperate these workers are. Like everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, like Chris says, but they decided to union bust instead. So they have the money, but they don't want to give up the power. So that's why, like, the question for you is, it's not about the money. Look, we just went through our second contract negotiations. We got some of these guys $6 raises because we were doing actions. We were calling them out. We had politicians. The other unions were coming out. They hate that. Like, that's what they don't want. Power shifting. Remember, when unions were on their up and up in the 30s and 40s and 50s, 1 out of 3 workers was in a union. We had the American dream came about. White picket fence. One job was enough. But what happened after that? The attack on unions came. They're like, we created the super PAC. Unions did. And then corporations are like, all right, we're going to start doing that. We're going to start buying off politicians too. And then they started outsourcing, automating, and now we're doing AI. So I think it's not just about money; it's about power.
Mm.
The contract gives workers power at work.
And that's what one of the things I talk about with my members is sometimes people don't know what a union is and what's it all about. So I'll have a conversation with them and be like, we represent different facilities, but I'll say, hey, okay, so after 6 months of employment, you'll get double time on Thanksgiving and Christmas. After a year, you get double time on all the holidays in the contract. Get a week vacation, week sick leave. You never lose anything. If you don't use your sick leave or your vacation, will be paid out to you. Now, if I go over the whole contract, we're gonna be here for 3 hours, and I'm not going to do that to you. But what a contract is, in essence, is ownership. You own that double time. It's in the contract. Employers can say, oh, make promises, false promises, but put it in writing. We want double time. You negotiate it. In the grocery business, people have to work holidays. And so there's different mechanisms, but at the end of the day, it is owning something. You're owning, bettering your life, and to get that ownership, what Juan's talking about, power. So once you get the union, now you have this kind of foundation to build on and negotiate with the members and on their behalf. And sometimes members are even in negotiations. It just all depends on what you're doing. But I think that's touch again on what Juan said. It is power, and it's like, you're paying rent, right? The landlord's good, right? But it's a different conversation when you own your own place. So they kind of want, in a way, they want you to keep stringing you along, keep paying, like an indentured servitude kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Blackstone's been known to, they're buying up all the properties now. And I don't know who said it, but it's been said that they're saying that you will never own, you will just rent. Just once again, I never even thought about that, because I was thinking about going back to Jeff Bezos. Dude, you have so many billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. Like, when's enough? Wouldn't you have the heart to give back to people and make people's lives better? I mean, you would think if someone's life is better, they're going to come to work happier. They're going to work better, but then you brought up power. That one, I want to be thinking about that one all night. Yeah. It's all about power. And we got someone that's, that's our president, that's all about power.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. Same thing, right? They say they don't have money for healthcare, for education, for roads and bridges, for infrastructure in the U.S. But yeah, we're about to give $20 billion to Argentina for whatever the fuck reason. And then we keep giving billions to Israel and Ukraine for continuous war. Well, what about, so they have money. They just print it. They don't even print anymore. It's just all digital. So they have money to fix homelessness, to fix our healthcare system. But again, why would they do that? They start giving us power. Like if people had living wages, even in non-union sectors, of course, and people had healthcare, then workers start having more power. And that's what they don't want. So whether it's the corporation, the CEO, or it's our politician.
Yeah, it's starting the show, when I started this show, I talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. Sorry, guys, but I was raised a conservative, and Republicans have always been conservative. And when I started getting guests on, they were, and then I started learning more about Mr. Trump, President Trump, that he burned a lot of union guys, when he was building his buildings. He wouldn't pay them. I mean, he's not pro-union, and it's what happened with the NLRB. How's that going? Have you heard anything about the NLRB?
Well, right now everything's kind of status quo because that person was eliminated or resigned. So there's
2 and 2 right
there's
now.
2 and 2. So everything like the ULP strikes, all these things are still happening because no one can overturn anything.
Yeah.
And but I think one of the things about you touched on Trump, and there's a lot of union guys who supported Trump. There's a lot of union guys that supported Kamala Harris, and there's union guys that support other candidates. I think it's a system set up to divide you. You know, it really
Mhm,
is.
mhm.
If I'll give you an example, they don't want you to have universal health care in California, because if you have universal health care, well, guess what? If you go on strike, you still have health care.
Mhm.
You know, if you are a union organizer, probably a better, organizer, because people don't have to worry about these things. So once you have this, and unions are not just about the 10% union density we have. Unions are about helping everybody.
Mhm.
And I think we're in a very powerful position. Like Juan said, 70% approval rating. I mean, we really have the attention of society right now. And I think in the labor movement, you need to care about people you don't know, not just, you don't focus just on one entity. They talk about, hey, unions got the minimum wage. Hey,
Mhm.
unions got the weekend. Well, that's for everybody. What if unions could take credit for getting everyone health care in the United States? It's an interesting situation, but I think it does come down ownership and power.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's definitely gutting the NLRB. Um, like, but you know what though? Like under Biden, he wasn't really double downing with the NLRB as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can, and Chris Smalls talks about this on the podcast. Like, sure, Biden and Biden walks the picket line with UAW when they went on strike a couple years ago or last year, whenever it was. But then Chris Moss is like, but we're still going off of like 70-year-old, 80-year-old laws, labor laws. Why haven't we updated all these laws to better workers? Why haven't they funded the NLRB at the rate that they're supposed to be funding it? You know what I mean? Like these are
Mhm.
systemic issues that even Democrats that were super pro union didn't do also.
Yeah.
So I understand why workers, you guys have members, I have members that support Trump because yeah, like the Democrats have pissed everybody off. They ran a weak ass campaign. They supported genocide. So I understand that dynamic. But with the NLRB getting weakened and gutted and all this stuff, we only have ourselves now. The workers, the union only has themselves. So if anything, we should just organize even more to give power to the workers even more. Before the NLRA was signed in 1932 and gave rights to the workers to organize, people were going on strikes and they were winning. So just because something is not legal or legal, people are still going to fight for their rights. So even if we don't have an NLRB to enforce anything, it doesn't matter. Workers are still going to go on strike.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always think like the institutions in place. I always think the labor movement is divided into two categories. You have institutionalized unions, UFCW, Local 135, Teamsters, they're institutions.
Mhm.
But the other side of the labor movement is attitude. We're gonna not, and I think that basically, in a nutshell, is we're not gonna let the billionaires or millionaires dictate our wages, our benefits, or our working conditions. We want to stay in the decision making process. And so that fire is the labor movement. That and the labor movement is in itself, it's its own thing. You need the institutions though, because if you don't have a strike fund or you don't have structure and you don't have it's important to have it, um, but you need both, and you can't just have an institution that's going to do it. You need to be have a say. You need to be participate, like you were saying. Go to your membership meetings, volunteer, start your own podcast called
Mhm.
Raider and the Saint.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going talking about Kamala, like this election, like I felt like the Democratic Party kind of stepped back from really supporting the unions. Like I don't know if they thought, oh, there's not enough of them. There's not a big support for them. So I felt like the Democratic Party has kind of not turned their backs on union, but kind of just neglected us this past election. Uh, I noticed that you guys have had a couple guys on that are part of the Green Party,
Yeah.
right? What's his name?
We've had Dr. Butch Ware. He's running for
Yeah, Dr.
governor in
Butch Ware.
California.
Yeah, that's cool.
hmm Yeah, I don't. So I think the Democrats kind of like take the union vote for granted,
Hmm.
just like they take every vote for granted. Like we owe them that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I think yeah, sure they're a little bit more worker friendly, a little bit more than Republicans, and which is great. But the bar is so low.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't take anything to be pro union if you're gonna have that argument or whatever. But I mean, under Biden, they broke the strike or the potential strike that the railroad workers were gonna do a couple years ago, 2023 in November. It was Biden and Congress that stepped in and were like, you guys are not gonna go on strike.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's the Democrats doing that, and remember we've met some railroad workers when we went to Troublemakers last year.
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
and there was a panel and they talked about that potential strike and their issues. Some of these workers have these workers have an average lifespan after they retire of 2 to 5 years.
Wow.
Because when they worked and they're batting
Mhm.
down the freaking nails and the logs, they're just beating their bodies up 24/7.
What's the average age of them retired?
I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
in their 60s,
Wow.
much longer once they retire because their bodies give up.
hmm
They get cancer. They have higher cancer rates than everybody else.
I had one of my coworkers. He just retired a couple years ago. He passed away from cancer, and it just happened all. It just happened quick, and that's happened quite a few times with workers that drive for UPS. Because
Really?
you think about it, I tell my wife all the time. I says, "You're moving all day long." Like I just came back from disability. I was on disability for personal issues, but the first month my body is just out of whack because it's not working, it's not moving around, and even going to the gym for a couple hours a day doesn't justify
Mm.
what my body is used to doing. And man, it was like I had to go back to work, and I felt like I wasn't, like I was ready, like I was like mentally like, dude, I gotta go, because I knew that once I went back to work, everything, my body's just gonna go, okay, this is what we needed. This is because I've been the company for 26 years.
Oh,
I've been driving for what, 21. And I tell my wife all the time, I says, what am I going to do when I retire? You know what I mean? Because going back to the railroad worker, like it's true. There's a lot of other people that have retired and just passed away,
Mm-hmm.
with a couple of years. Like you got to stay busy, or I don't know what the remedy is. Because there are workers that go on to live, retirement life and stuff, but there's a handful of them that, yeah, their body goes into shock because they're used to working 11, 12-hour days. And it's not, one thing people piss me off too, that somebody would comment or say something online when I'm posting stuff about like our last contract, like we want this much or whatever. They says your job isn't a skilled job. You don't deserve that pay. And I infuriates me because you've never been in a package car. You don't know how hard it is. I'm 45 and I went back to work after 3 months off. No matter how much gym time I did, how much strength training, whatever, it doesn't prepare you to doing 11, 12-hour days. I'm doing right now 10 and a half, but that's still a lot of hours. And I'm in and out of that truck all day. And the first day, man, I came home, I was so sore the next morning. Like they actually gave me the day off. I go, I need a breather, dude. And they gave me a breather. But then it's crazy. By 10 o'clock, I'm like, man, I should have gone to work. But like, I'm just so sore. And I'm like, geez. And we got workers that are like 70 that are still driving. I'm like, wow, dude. Like, it's just scary because like, I don't want to work until I'm 70. You know what I mean? Like I'm aiming towards 55. I'm 45. I got 10 more years left of me, and that's it. Go on to do something. And I think the thing is you got to stay busy when you retire too, like going from, doing the railroad or in and out of the truck all day to just sitting down watching TV, your body goes, okay, well, that's it. And then it just starts deteriorating.
Yeah.
This is when I really like Spanish because, they say reiterar in Spanish, but they also say jubilar.
Mhm.
You jubilate.
Mhm.
Retiring, when you say someone's retiring, it's such a solemn word. But
I've never heard that word.
jubilar,
Me either.
Yeah.
Jubilar?
jubilar,
Jubilar.
Jubilar?
jubilar,
It
I'm
means
going to
to
ask my
retire?
mother-in-law.
means, yeah,
Jubilar.
jubilar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they say that. It's you jubilate.
Oh.
Have it. And well, I think people should retire or jubilate
Mhm.
with dignity.
Mhm.
And I think the system's kind of set up the way for people not to, because I
Yeah.
can't retire.
It's getting worse.
I'm gonna lose my health care. I mean, you would have so much more time to enjoy, all that hard work. People are working for 30, 40, 50 years. If you had, if everyone had health care when they retired, that would be great because then you could, not worry about that thing. But we're always worried. Well, do I have enough money? What about my health care? All these, what about Social Security? And that's another thing. Like
Yeah.
Social Security, they raised the age on Social Security.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Is it-
What is it now? 60.
It's 62.
62.
62. But the reason they do that, I think, was
Isn't it
because
69?
no, it depends if you want early
Yeah,
retirement.
yeah, you can do early retirement.
But no,
Yeah.
but still 62. It wasn't always 62.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that's when they said they started talking about banning TikTok.
Yeah.
Everyone's we got to ban TikTok, blah 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 blah. And then while they're doing that, everyone's on that. Their focus is moved,
Mhm.
and then they raise the Social Security
Yeah.
age. I mean, they tried to do that in
France.
France. It's like, I think we guys, you don't need to succumb to mediocrity. You don't even have what you want. You just got to fight for it. It's like Biden. When he went to the picket line, he's like, "This is the first president to come to a picket line." It's like, why is that? People should. Gavin Newsom has never been to a picket line. It's like, why are we celebrating something that's just so simple?
Mhm.
It's like you don't brag. Hey, Steven, he went to a picket line. That's awesome. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's part of the movement.
But yeah.
It's just part of the job about being pro worker.
Yeah, and I think for the retirement thing, like staying active within our union, we have a retirees.
Mhm.
In the unions, we have retirees, we have
Mhm.
events, luncheons,
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that. That's important to continue the community
Mhm.
of unionism.
They did it at
after-
my local.
Mhm.
About 6 months ago, I was at one of the meetings, and they had brought in a bunch of retirees, and they were doing something with the retirees. And one of the guys spoke. He was like, "Thank you so much," And yeah, I think that's true. Once you're retired, you still want to, you got to teach the younger generation. Keep them, get them involved. Do you think today the younger generation is aware of union more or less than it has in the past?
I think it's more. I think Gen Z is the most pro-union generation in U.S. history.
Mhm.
Our I gave you a shirt, but it has a honey badger on it. That's our mascot, the honey badger.
Okay, I was wondering what that
Yeah.
was.
And I think these young people, they are like these honey badgers. They're growing up. I mean, they don't give a fuck. I don't know if you've ever seen the honey badger video. There's one that says, honey badger doesn't give a fuck.
Who's the honey badger? Is that Wisconsin, the college?
Well, I think they're the badgers.
Oh, they're the
but the
badgers.
honey
The
badgers,
Oh,
they-
two different.
The honey badgers take on everything. They're not afraid of lions.
Yeah, they'll fight a lion.
They'll fight a
Really?
lion. Yeah.
Where's the honey badger from? Where is it?
Africa.
domestic-
Africa.
Oh, okay.
Africa. So no, they'll fight lions. They don't care. They just
Oh.
they have their most tenacious animals, and they're built to survive on their own. And
Wow.
and so, but what I was saying is we have this generation that we need to educate. It's almost like people were, maybe in the 2000s when the approval rating was lower, like, people did not want to associate themselves with the union. People can't, if you say you're a union, they want to take a picture with you because they know that's how they get elected. Politicians, what I was talking about. I mean, we have this platform. Labor has this platform, and the younger generation's really good with social media, with getting the word out. I remember when there was no cell phones.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, the younger generation, like Chris says, they don't give a fuck. They don't care about authority. You know what I mean? Like, and it could be a good and a bad thing. You can argue both ways, but authority is your boss. I remember 15 years ago, 10 years ago, or when I was younger, having the job was like, dude, I have a job. Fuck yeah. I'm loyal to my job. I'm loyal to my boss, and nothing can change that. I was so grateful to have a job. Now they don't give a fuck, dude. They'll bounce from job to job because, 15 years ago or before then, maybe minimum wage could carry you a little bit, help you pay the rent, buy food, go out. Now minimum wage can't do that anymore. So these kids are having 2 or 3 jobs, and they're like, screw these jobs. They're just pointless at this point. So I think they don't care about authority, which means they're primed up for organizing. That's why the whole Starbucks campaign kicked off. That's why like Amazon kicked off. I think they're the generation that will organize their workplaces. Um, I just helped organize this one company. It's called Commons Art. They're like the caricature artists. They do body paint, face paint, letter brush at the San Diego Zoo,
Mm-hmm.
and none of them have been organized before. This is the first one, and yeah, they're younger. They're like between 18 and mid 20s. They're young, uh, and they have that mindset that they believe in their art. They want respect. They want dignity at the workplace. Of course, they want to get paid more, also. But yeah, this younger generation is just that with that mindset, man. Like I don't give a fuck about what my boss thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna organize my workplace because I deserve more. So I think they're primed up for organizing. We just got to do more educating, like Chris
Yeah,
says.
I remember going to work, because I remember I started working when I was really young.
Mhm.
I had a paper route when I was 12 years old.
I did a paper route. Well, I didn't have. I went door to door to get people to subscribe.
I started working at 7-Eleven when I was 14.
Wow.
And then at 6
What was the legal age?
No, well, back then it was
There
it
was
was
no-
different. General work experience education. There were waivers as long as you had a work permit. At 16, I was I worked as a waiter, as a cook, and then I heard that they were giving double time or triple time on holidays at Vaughn's,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went over there and I was like, wow. But I've always had that like work ethic.
Mhm.
Like I would go to work hurt or go to work sick, and that was our generation,
Mhm.
and that's how I was brought up. But
Mhm.
the newer generation, they're about mental health. They're about life balance.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. We
Mhm.
are in a mental health crisis.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, we need that downtime to enjoy time with our families. I don't never known anyone that said, I had a great career, but I had a terrible personal life. It's balance.
Mhm.
Your family or your health. You need to kind of balance that out.
Yeah, I know. Like you, I started working when I was 15. I started at Thrifties. I was the ice cream scooper.
Shout out
and-
Thrifties.
There's a
Yeah,
shout out.
They're gone now. Well, they still have
Oh,
the
they
ice
are?
cream.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they sell out of Rite Aid now. They changed to Rite Aid. But my right forearm was so fucking huge. People were making fun of me.
They're like Popeye.
I would scoop it, and then I was a beer stalker, so I'd go back there and stock the beers. That was my first job, and then I was off season for football, and then football season came, and then and then I went and worked with McDonald's. That was one season I did with McDonald's, but I wanted money in my pocket. I
Yeah.
wanted to work. I had a girlfriend. I wanted to make money, and so I did that, and then I got hired at UPS. Exactly, just turned 18. I turned 18 in August. I got hired in, I think, October with UPS. But going back to the mindset, you wanted to work. You were happy to work. Like, I'm here. I'm happy at working. And then now that I'm older now, it's like, I'm union and I know my rights. It's like I wake up if I'm a little sick. Dude, I ain't gonna go do this while I'm sick. Or mental health. You know what I mean? I'm going through some stuff mentally. Things have happened in my life, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna take a intermittent FMLA. Say FMLA today, and take a mental relaxation day. And people still make fun of it. People are like, you gotta be tough, but it's like, we're only here for a blink of an eye.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Something can happen, something cannot happen. You know what I mean? But things happen in life. My son had a really bad football injury on Wednesday, season ending, and I got the call. Hey, we got to call an ambulance. So I had to call the ambulance and everything, and I had, you had to tell yourself, like, you got to, like, mental health it's so important. And it's starting, people are starting to realize, hey, it is, because you don't want to end up being one of those grunted workers at work, dude, and then, getting a fist fight with someone, or, something other horrific can happen. But it's a big deal, because, like in Italy, right? Don't they have, like, long breaks? Like, they go to break for lunch for, like, 3 hours,
yeah.
and then they only work, like, 4 days a week or something like that?
Some
Yeah.
countries, it's illegal to take their lunch break at your desk.
Mm-hmm.
There, and I think that mental health is really important. I think that's one of the edges I have when I'm a rep, because people talk to the reps, not necessarily for the best reasons. They're going through something.
Mhm.
I battled alcoholism, depression, anxiety. I
Mhm.
gave my life, Lord. I haven't had a drink, going on 15 years.
Nice.
And
Prove this point.
yeah, I think I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
always tries
Chris,
to make me drink.
I'm like, Chris, you proved your point. I get it.
but at the end of the day, it's was it better for me? Or were we lighting ourselves on fire
Mhm.
to keep someone else warm?
Mhm.
When people are, working for Amazon and they can't even support themselves and they can't pay their rent because they're not unionized, and then they're just working, then you see Jeff Bezos in a spaceship, and
Mhm.
it's just
Oh, hell
it's
yeah.
like exactly. So, and I think the younger generation, they are about like enjoying life,
Mhm.
and maybe things would have been different for me if I was a little bit more had a little more Gen Z in me.
I think
Yeah.
I think though, like back then, you work hard and it paid out. You were
Yeah.
able to buy a house. We had people. My parents were able to buy a house here in San Diego. In 1990, they bought the house because my dad worked hard. He immigrated to the U.S. from Mexico,
Mhm.
and he just worked his ass off, and he bought a house. But that was possible back then with the
Mhm.
American dream, with whatever you were working in. Now, good luck trying to buy a home.
Mhm.
You have to
Especially in San Diego.
you have to make over $150,000 to buy the average home in San Diego. Nobody makes $150,000. The average wage in the U.S. is $32,000 a year. In San Diego, I believe, is a little bit higher, like $40,000. So what that means, you have to have 3 jobs to be able
Mhm.
to afford the average home.
And then on top of that, you would never be home because you're always working.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. Like it was possible back then to work hard and at least you reap the benefits of it. Now you work hard for nothing, really. You're
Mhm.
just stressed all the time. You're anxious all the time. And like Chris says, we do have a
Rat
mental health
race.
crisis, right?
Mhm.
Like all these parents are stressed out. Their kids are in schools. Why do you think there's shootings all the time now? That didn't exist back then. But that's because everybody's so anxious and
Social media,
stressed
all that
and social
garbage.
media. Exactly. But that's the beauty of labor where we're trying to bring everybody together to better our lives
Mhm.
instead. And we have the solution. It's one thing to say, like, everything sucks, everything sucks, everything sucks. Okay, what are we going to do about it? Let's organize, let's build power, let's get some politicians elected that are going to serve us, but let's organize our workplaces. So we have the solution. Now we just got to continue to grow it and educate people. But yeah, no, I think that's why the young generation does. It's the badger generation. They don't give a fuck. Why should they if they have to work 2 or 3 jobs in order to survive? Society's not built for them anymore.
Yeah.
And that's from the rich having too much power.
We're gonna have our first trillionaire by 2030.
Who is that gonna? Is that gonna be?
I think it's gonna be Elon Musk.
Elon?
Yeah, because of his military contracts and whatnot.
Jeez, dude.
And I think there's this learned helplessness that people have been beat up so much thinking that they don't deserve something. And let me tell you something, you do deserve to have a job and retire with dignity. You deserve to have health care. You deserve all these things. And I think corporations, the billionaires, they want to keep you just happy enough where you won't revolt or something like that at the end of the day. But it's like we have an opportunity where one job can be enough. All you need to do is come together, solidarity. There's a hell of a lot more than us than there are of the CEOs. And I think right now, people are growing up. They're this younger generation. We're changing. They're going to change the world. I mean, I know we think we're. Juan always likes to tell me, he's like, Chris, you're old.
How old, by the way?
I'll be 50 this year.
Oh, you're young, dude. What are you talking about?
See, there you go.
You're over
Oh,
the
my
hill,
friends.
Chris.
How old are you? How old are you?
I turned 40 in January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because, like, I'll talk to my parents and I'm like, I had bought a home when I was 25. I bought my first home.
Wow.
And
Wow.
the economy crashed in 2008. The house went from 350,000 to 80,000. And at the time, you know, my wife's dad got very sick, terminally ill, and so she would move in to take care of the dad, and the mom had to go to work, and like it was just this whole just family comes first, you know. And I got home, you know, I was missing my family, wasn't seeing them during the week, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna short sell it. You know, we'll start over, we'll bounce back. But man, once I did that, the housing prices skyrocketed, and it was just, you know, I tell my mom and dad, they're, you know, my mom was a stay at home, my dad was a hard worker, worked for Boeing, and they bought their house back in 1995 for $130,000. Now it's almost worth $1 million. And I says, I wish, you know what I mean, like we had those type of, you know, obviously, you know, the minimum wage has gone up, but it hasn't gone up enough, or even, you know, income has gone up enough to where we can afford $1 million home. You know, and my mom goes, oh, well, you know, we did it, you can do it. I'm like, no, you got to look at the numbers. You got to look at inflation, and like it's totally just upside down. You know, and you got companies like BlackRock buying up all the properties and renting them out. My neighbor moved a couple years ago, sold his house for $300,000, and you know what they did? A company bought it and turned it to Airbnb. They made 2 units out of it. Made 2 units, and now they rent it out. I think it's like $400 or $500 a night to rent it out, and it just sits there vacant most of the time, dude.
And that's one of the things, is that the monopoly of everything is large corporations, Blackstone, BlackRock, that they're buying every single thing so that you don't own anything. They don't want you to own, just like they don't want you to own your own rights at work, like Chris was talking about. The Encore company I was telling you about, they're owned by Blackstone. These workers work in hotels. Blackstone also owns some of the hotels that Encore is in as well. So they don't just make money off of the AV, they make money off of the hotel stays. You know what I mean? Like, so they're making money no matter what the situation is. These large corporations, they own everything. So they don't want anybody to have it. They don't want you to have a home. They would rather have these houses sit empty than to house people. Like, our homelessness crisis has just skyrocketed in San Diego. It's ridiculous. Everybody's a couple paychecks away from becoming homeless. We're one medical bill away from bankruptcy. So when we see homeless people out in the streets, like, we have to understand that that could be you with one accident. You know, like, anybody can become homeless. And but that's what they would rather have, is have these homes empty, try to make a profit here and there, but as long as they can keep the American dream away from you.
Yeah, I was down there. Oh man, maybe 10 years ago. To go, we did the sleep and snore with the out there in San Diego Zoo, where you could sleep overnight in the exhibits. It was really cool. It was years ago, probably like it had to be like at least 10 years ago. But I remember we were driving around, you know, getting lunch before we had to check in, and there was a thing called Tent City. It was huge. I thought it was a swap meet. I was like, "Is a swap meet going on?" It was just huge, dude. I can't even imagine how big it is now.
It's the fruits of the billionaire class. You know, it's we can change the. I always joke around and go, we're saving the world. You know, you're saving the world with a podcast. We're saving the world with the Union or Bust podcast. We're trying to do our part and activating people. I think changing the narrative of what people, because there's so many things, right? I always use this metaphor. You ever seen grass blowing in the wind?
Yeah.
You know, every single blade of grass makes a sound. Every single blade. And if we had to listen to every single blade of grass, the sound would be deafening. But those are all the problems in the world. That's how many problems are in the world. So in the labor movement and our podcast, we put a spotlight on kitchen table economics. You know, people have a right to have a house. People have a right to support themselves. People have the right to do honest, decent work. And I think in the labor movement, if you care about people you don't know, the labor movement just is going to keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It's when you lack that, know?
The empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at what's going on, like, right, we live. I come out at night. I like to look at the stars. I'm a stargazer. One of the best places I've ever been to where I could see the stars was Zion National Park in Utah. I sat out there all night, all morning. I was just amazed of how many stars were out there, and I probably seen at least 30 to 40 falling stars, but it was so mesmerizing, majestic that I felt like I was in a cockpit of a spaceship, which we are. Think about it. We're in this world flying through space. We're in this natural habitat, just going through space, and I think if more people were to see how small we are in this universe, and we could, because of the light pollution, if we were to just come out and see all those stars, we would just be mesmerized. Because even till this day, I'll come out barefoot. I'll go put my feet in the grass. I'll touch the tree because everything is alive. You know what I mean? And we get so blinded with this technology and social media. Social media for me is a tool, right? I call myself an investigative journalist. I look at everything. I look at the left, I look at the right, I look at the middle. I like to see everyone's opinions. And we're heading in a direction where, people are starting to fight. See, people are starting to stand up and say, this is not the way you want to live. I call it modern day slaves. We're just batteries to these big corporations, to these companies. And when, we're heading towards a scary time, like AI, for example. AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. AI is on the phone now. If you go on social media, you don't know if it's a real video. There's one with Donald Trump. He's hugging Erica Kirk at the funeral, and he has this grin, that look he gives, like the same look he gave when he was with Jeffrey Epstein. They're at some party and the girls are dancing, and Donald Trump's there with his little teeth, rabbit teeth. And then he did the same look with Erica Kirk, and it's like, is this AI? I don't know. I mean, it kind of looks like he did it, but AI is scary because they're not just our country, but other countries are using it as a cyber, I'm going to call it cyber terrorism. We got these, they call them social farms or cell phone farms, where they just sit out there, and if you're going through messages, like comments, and you'll just see a comment from Jack 23789, and then he just wants to rage bait and just say something stupid where people want to with them.
When you were talking about the stars and seeing everything, I couldn't help but think of that Plato's
I was thinking about
allegory
that.
of the cave. That is like
Allegory of the Cave.
allegory of the cave. That's exactly. Juan talks about it all the time. So,
Have you heard of it?
No.
Allegory of the Cave.
I'm sure I studied Plato in college, but that was a long time ago.
So, Allegory of the Cave is basically a story of some slaves. They were in a cave. They're chained up to a wall, and then they're looking at a wall in front of them, but behind them there's people projecting images with a torch and some silhouettes of the sun, of grass, of a lion, of animals, and they're basically teaching these slaves of what these things are, what an animal is, what this is, right? And these slaves are chained up, so they just watch that, and that's what they observe the world to be. One slave breaks out and goes to the real world, and he learns what the sun is, what it feels like, what a flower is, what an animal is, what love is. Then he comes back to the cave to try to get everybody out, break them out. So it's kind of like getting red pilled. The Matrix. That's what that is. It's waking everybody up to the real world that we're actually enslaved. This is enslavement, the cave. But what those other slaves did, they ostracized them instead. Instead of accepting it and accepting truth, they would rather be in denial and be like, no, we're comfortable here. This is this is life. This is what a sun is. This is what a tree is. And he's like, what the fuck? So they ostracized them instead. So I like to say that with these podcasts that we have, yours, ours, we're trying to red pill people, educate people that, hey, the union is the way. We got to wake up. Like these corporations, they don't have your best interests at heart. And sometimes these politicians either. What we have is collectivism and us coming together and fighting for something. Sometimes people are gonna tell us like, "Hey, what are you talking about? You fucking communist, you socialist, blah
Yeah.
blah." Like,
Well, we do live like people don't even when people say that I'm like you don't understand. We do live in parts of our society is a social society. We got social security, you know. We got
we got the military,
Yeah.
we got firefighting, we got cops.
mhm.
We all pitch in, we pay taxes, and we benefit from
Yeah,
it.
that's part of a socialist society. So when they say that, I'm like, dude, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think red pilling, it is. It's like we're waking people up.
Mhm.
We're really doing that with these platforms, and I think, you know, MSNBC and Fox News, they don't get paid to unite us; they get paid to divide
Oh
us.
no, yeah,
And so these podcasts, this independent media, which is really important right now, because you talk about the billionaires or have a stake in TikTok or all the social media platforms. So, you know, independent media is important. We are, you know, saying, you know, telling people, and maybe he was ostracized, but there's going to be somebody that listens. And when you pull them out and they see things for what they are, go, you know, you can have health care. You know, you can retire with dignity. You know, you can have these things. But if people are stuck in that cave and they think this is all I get, or this is, or more or worse, this is all I deserve. But we're opening people's eyes in the labor movement. And I think that's cool.
yeah, and it's also cool that finally, because I know for a while I've had people on the show, you know, in support of the Palestinians, you know, and I know for one, I think it was like Teamster Mobilize that came out and started questioning, you know, the Teamsters Union, right? Like, when are you guys going to recognize, you know, what's going on over there is genocide? And then some people were like, well, that has nothing to do with the union. You know, it has nothing to do with labor. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, we've gotten that pushback already because we helped pass that resolution in San Diego at the Labor Council. And how is this a labor issue? And I think I remember when I swore in as a member with IATSE, I swore one of the lines that I repeated was, and an injury to one is an injury to all. All doesn't mean just stagehands. All doesn't mean just workers in San Diego or in California. All doesn't mean just workers in America. To me, all means everybody in the world. So that's one. And then two, these are our tax dollars being used to blow people up. I don't want my money. I work hard. I pay taxes. Why is our money being used to blow up kids across? We don't even know where most Americans don't even know where Gaza is or Israel. We can't even put it on a map, or Iran. So why the fuck is our money being used for violence in that way? I'd rather use that money back at home to give us health care. That's my argument. It's like, okay, we do have a stake in the game. It's our money being used for violence. If it wasn't our money, then maybe, I guess. But I think economically wise, it is our money being used.
Yeah, I think people do get that issue. Why is this a labor thing? But I think it goes to like the dehumanizing of people. The people that, I mean, you're talking about hospital workers that were killed, bombed, teachers. There's no more universities in Gaza. These are all workers. These are all people. You know, I don't know everyone's kid, you know, but I care about children. Children are special. You know, it's like, you know, I don't know if you have kids or if you have kids, but, you know, I would not want 20,000 children. But I think that's the thing. The narrative is what we're doing in San Diego. But there was a lot of pushback because, you know, people don't want they want the war to continue because they don't want to. It's almost like they're living in denial or something. You know, this isn't happening. Like, you know, this is it seems like it's allegory of the cave. No. This is reality. Kamala Harris, number one. You know, it's like, no, you can't vote for people that support genocide. I mean, where's the red line?
Yeah, they
And
go,
especially in labor.
oh, they're using the Hamas. They're using the children as human shields. They're taking all the food. They keep the civilians up top, and then they go hide on the bottom, and they're causing this whole mess. I'm like, you know, like,
Yeah, you know, Vietnam War was the first televised war, but this is live genocide. This is like exactly, it is there. You know, there's no denying. Even people are actually trying to cover their asses right now. You see them coming up. Oh, you know, we need to do something. But you know, this has been going on for a couple years, ever since the Biden administration. And it is, you know, an injury to one is an injury to all. And I really believe in that. And it's like, you can say that. Anyone could say an injury to one is an injury to all. Okay, injury to one is injury to all. But do you mean it? Like, you could be a union member, but are you part of the labor movement? It's all depends.
Didn't they just take over Nepal? Didn't the citizens just take over Nepal? Or is that an old podcast I listened to?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yeah, Nepal got taken over. The civilians took over it.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, they just took over Nepal. They revolted and took over Nepal. But it's not just, I mean, the reason why Gaza's got the bright light, because like you said, it's being televised. But there's like over at least 90 wars going on around the world that, you know, like this, for example, somewhere in Africa, there's, you know, wars going on, you know, people getting murdered. I like watching movies over again, like Blood Diamond, you know what I mean? Back when the diamond trade was going on over there, dude. I mean, they were going around killing villages and just murdering people. And then the tribes, or with the, I don't know what party they were called, but they would take the younger kids and then, you know, manipulate them and hypnotize them to be killers. You know, it was a really good. It was based on a true story too. It was with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
I think people are also, it's kind of, it's systematic, because you think about the Juan's talking about our tax dollars. It's like, so our money is going to fund this, and people are connecting the dots. And what I think happened was they were trying to manufacture consent for what was going on in Gaza. You saw, I mean, you see like Congress taking pictures with Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of them are like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, you know, but that's ultimately what's happening. But you have when you have it's so clear, because remember, we've been lied to. It's like, oh, we don't have enough money for healthcare. Oh, we don't have enough money. There's money there. So people are just like, wait a minute. I think some of them are kind of finding that red pill, or getting red pill, or getting educated.
Also, a lot of Trump supporters are also on Medicaid and Medicare and Medi-Cal and Social Security.
And that's part of socialism.
Yeah, but they're like, okay, fuck it, Trump is my guy, it's all good. But once you start being affected personally by his policies, my Medicare is getting, my premiums are going up. Why? Oh, and we're sending another 20 billion. See, you know, those, they start connecting those dots right off the bat, and it's more like, holy shit, we just got lied to. So I think that's where it becomes our issue now. It's like, no, now this is my issue. Now I can't even have what I had earlier with healthcare, Medicaid, or whatever. I have to pay more now because we're sending these billions of dollars overseas to blow up these kids. Maybe we shouldn't be blowing up kids after all. So a lot of his base has turned on him on this issue.
Did you see it was just this past, I think it was like Friday it happened. Netanyahu came up. I think it was United Nations.
Yeah.
He was and a majority of people stood up and walked out.
Yeah. Saw that. Everybody walked out except the Israeli, whatever, their crew.
And that's the thing. It's like the whole world is watching us right now. Countries are coming together, and you know, they talk. United States likes to be like a world leader, and they're saying now you have countries going, you're supporting genocide, you're funding a genocide, and people are just and it's like, no, don't look over there, look over here, look over here.
Yeah, we have the people that support that also or anti-abortion.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But
Wally world.
But labor, we're the leaders right now. And one of the fastest growing populations, religious population, is the Muslim population. You know, it's like, you know, you have to organize. You got to continue to organize. It's like, you want to say people staying silent?
And there's a percentage, not just Muslims that are getting genocide. There's a big percentage of other religions, like Catholic, Christianity that lived in Gaza and are being prosecuted as well.
Yeah, and but you're not going to hear that unless you're on the Raider and the Same podcast. So that's it. That's what we're doing. We're independent media. We're doing our job
Until we sell out.
until we sell out.
Until we sell out.
Yeah.
But until we sell out, we're going to tell the truth.
Well, even Charlie Kirk right towards the end, like the last few episodes or shows he was on, because people were talking to him about genocide, what's going on? Like how can he sit here and talk about Christ and God when there's literally genocide going on? And he started at the end, was changing his opinion and his rhetoric of what's
he
going
started
on.
flipping on the issue. And I don't know too much about it, not going to lie. But what I do know is that he did start changing his mind on the issue. And he was not for the genocide. And he was scared of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah.
So I do know.
Yeah, because I don't want to. Like, I could talk about conspiracies all day.
Yeah,
you know what I
me
mean?
too,
They're saying that, it was, now Candace Owens is coming out saying that guy Kyle wasn't the shooter, and that he's denying anything right now and about his dad, calling him out, calling the police on him, and that's not true. So I kind of like Candace Owens. I think I watched one documentary she did, or what did she do? Some investigation with the BLM. I don't know if you guys ever seen that BLM, the Black Lives Matter, and the people that were behind it. And she did a whole investigation on it, and it was really good.
Yeah, I like to listen to different podcasts too and different videos, whether they're conservative, liberal, or whatever. I listen to Joe Rogan. People give me shit for that, and I'm like, he's the only person I've seen bring somebody on to talk about Blackstone, how they're buying everything off. I haven't seen MSNBC bring somebody on to talk about how Blackstone's buying everything off.
No, because all those channels are all bought and paid for.
Exactly. So I don't agree with everything with Joe Rogan. I don't agree with everything that my mom says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to agree on
Ditto.
everything. But if we can agree on some things, then there you go. That's how we win. Like at work, you have Republicans, Democrats, you have conservative, you have Muslims, Christians. You don't agree on everything. But what everybody agrees on is they want to get paid, they want to have livable wages, health care, and they want to be able to retire eventually. So that's what brings us together is the union contract.
Yeah, and one of the media did their job though. They're distracting. So Charlie Kirk, people were, instead of focusing on
The
what's going
vote
on,
for the Epstein, even the Epstein files. They voted on.
if you have these things going on, and because remember, we're human, so we have only so much RAM in our brains. So it's important to keep talking about these things, and because their goal is to get their point across, to support their constituencies, and Democrats and Republicans both cater to the billionaire class.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. We got an all-out war, dude. That's what the proper term, bot farms.
Bot farms.
I don't know if you ever seen that on Instagram. They have a video, and it was like just thousands of phones, and they're just plugged into the matrix, just out there, just because I like reading comments, I like reading everything. I'm like, that's a bot, that's AI.
Yeah. I mean, that's what social media is, right? Like, social media is just a tool.
Yeah.
They're going to use it and exploit it. Last year during the election, what did the right do? The right did invest in podcasts. Trump went on to all the podcasts and talked about his campaign and how
He's got the Nauk Boys. I don't know if you know what the Nauk Boys are.
No.
Yeah, they're big YouTuber guys. They started off doing pranks. Matter of fact, my old route I used to pick up from their warehouse. They started Happy Dad. I don't know if you guys know the alcohol drink Happy Dad, but these guys, they go around and they party and they video it on YouTube. They're real popular with the young generation. And they had Donald Trump on the podcast, or they went to him, and good kids, you know what I mean? And, they got and they're also sponsored by UFC, or they have their drinks promoted with UFC. They're real close with Dana White. But I used to pick up and deliver their stuff, and they were all, America, this and that. And it's funny because the main guy is Canadian. He's from Canada, and so they talk about America made, but yet I was delivering all their shit. You know where it came from? Came from China. All their merch they
China.
would sell, you know, all their stuff was coming from China.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, these guys are over talking about American made, but yet you're just getting everything from China.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, no, I think the podcasts, that's where Trump and the Republicans, they jumped on it.
mhm,
He jumped on Joe Rogan show, Theo Vaughn, all of them. And that's good on them for bringing them on and people getting to know and having a real conversation instead
Mhm.
of sound bites. That's what the media wants. And
Yep.
I think that's because that's where people are going to is podcasts now. They're
Mhm.
tired of the fake 3-minute clips and got you questions.
mhm.
They want
Yeah.
real dialogue.
Well,
Like
yeah, I want to
this.
hear the whole thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to know what's going on. I want to get to know this person actually and real questions, and we're laughing. It's not cookie cutter. But I think that's why independent media is so important right now
Mhm.
because people are paying attention to independent media. CNN, their ratings have tanked.
Mhm.
MSNBC, look at they're canceling shows left and right.
Mhm.
They can't afford them anymore.
What do you think about the Jimmy Kimmel cancel?
I
He's back on now,
He's
but
back on. So I don't get into that because I know people around me like that kind of stuff. But since we're on here, I think it's all fake outrage, to tell you the truth. It's very selective outrage when they talk about the First Amendment, freedom of speech, like the left, I'm saying. It's all fake because they don't stand up for real First Amendment issues. They don't, or freedom of speech. Now, all of a sudden, the Democrats are all about freedom of speech. Before, if you
Yeah.
said you're about freedom of speech, they label you as a Republican, a right winger, because
Yeah.
Republicans were about freedom of speech. Now the Republicans are censoring. So in a way, I'm glad that the left is talking about these issues, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, because I do believe we should fight for those rights because they are taking them away from us. So the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, it's all to me just a lot of theater. He's a rich person and he shoots down a lot of progressive stuff anyways. But I think the outcome of it is now we're talking about freedom of speech. And that's something that the union should be talking about. So
And it's another distraction.
yeah.
You know, it is, but you know, we're just so programmed sometimes. Even me, you know. I mean, I remember waking up when I was little, watching Saturday morning cartoons. That was like the big thing, you know, every Saturday.
bowl
and
of cereal.
the whole cereal, the big bowl of cereal. So, but it is. If we do, social media is a tool, but media, independent media, is important. Just being able to hang out, you know, on your podcast and just have these conversations because people are listening.
Yeah.
Even it's interesting. Sometimes people don't like it, or they might not, you know, but they still listen. Maybe they're hate watching you.
Yeah. I got a lot of those.
Hate watchers are the
I
best.
got a lot of those.
Shout out to hate watchers.
Yeah, yeah, like one of our friends told us that one of her friends learned about organizing by watching our podcast. So she organized her workplace
Oh,
out of
nice.
watching our So Chris likes to say this all the time. Like we don't know our own reach. We have no idea who is watching on the other side. We had Dr. Butch Ware on the podcast. He's liking my videos on Instagram, my stories. I'm like, this guy's running for governor. He's watching my dumbass videos and like my little rants. But that's kind of cool now. Like that's where we're at now. Labor has that authority now. Lorena, we had her on the podcast, Gonzalez Fletcher, a couple years ago. And she did tell us like 10 years ago, politicians would not be bragging that they're endorsed by labor. Now they can't wait to be invited to a picket line and take a picture. So we have that authority now as labor. So we have to act like it. You know what I mean? Like labor has to make these calls and call these shots. We're not a normal democratic club. We're labor. We're union. And we have to just act like it. Sometimes Liz Schuler and the AFL, they're attached too much to the hip, to the Democrats, that they're afraid to hold them accountable. And that's why I think a lot of this shit keeps going on, these issues. But we need to be calling them out. We need to not endorse Democrats if they turn their backs on us. And that's how we hold them accountable. But I think we start with these type of podcasts. We start from the ground up. That's how we started organizing on the Gaza resolution. It was just a couple of knuckleheads meeting and talking. And then we ended up passing it unanimously. Like, where are our leaders? Why didn't they decide to pass this on their own? But maybe that's not how it works, I guess. It works from the bottom up. It's the most organic way of organizing. So I think with these platforms and these podcasts, we're inoculating people, we're talking to people and organizing. We have a step, it's called inoculation. So we talk about what the anti-union campaign is going to be like, so that they're prepared for it. It's like a vaccine, inoculation. Hey, this is what's going to happen when the boss finds out that we're organizing. They're going to start doing captive audience meetings. They're going to third party the union. We don't need a third party to come in between you and me. They're going to talk about how the union, they're thugs, and they just want your union dues to buy the next Ferrari. So when you inoculate them like that, and then they have the anti-union meetings, they're like, oh yeah, that's what Juan told me. That's what the organizer told me. So in a way, with this Gaza resolution, what we're doing with the podcast and our social media handles, we're inoculating society into these things that we care about. Unionism, fighting for our rights, blah, blah, blah. And that corporations and CEOs don't have your best interests at heart. And sometimes these politicians either.
I think knowing who you are, that's it. Like, we have this approval rating, but do you know how much power you have right now as a labor leader or a union member? When I talk to new members, I always tell them this story. Juan's going to get pissed off because he's heard this story a million times, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Our audience hasn't.
When I was a young dad, I was like 28 years old. I took my daughters to the zoo, and we went to go see the cheetah cage, right? It's a big cage. They got trees in there and everything. But I'll never forget, for the rest of my life, there was a dog, a golden retriever, inside that cage with the cheetah. And it was barking at that cheetah, going, "Rah!" And the cheetah was all scared, like in a submissive position. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, that cheetah could rip that dog's face off. What the hell is going on? And so I talked to the zoo guy, and he said, the cheetah thinks the dog is dominant because the cheetah was born in captivity. So I always tell my new union members, remember who you are. You're part of the union. You're part of the labor movement. We don't cut side deals. We work together to get the best contracts possible. And I think that is red pilling. People remember you're actually calling people in. It's in a way of calling people in and go, yeah, that's right. We're in the labor movement, we are a pride alliance, and the pride will eat, but how much is ultimately up to us.
Wow.
Yeah, Chris loves metaphors.
I love
Yeah,
it.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I tell him, I don't tell him I get mad at him. I don't know.
Yeah, he does. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm like, oh yeah, when you tell me the same metaphor, I'm like, Chris, okay, I get it when you tell new people. When you tell me the same metaphor, I'm like, Chris, you already told me this shit.
And he ends up using it anyway.
Yeah, I use all the metaphors myself. Yeah. They're good. It draws pictures and puts things into perspective.
Yeah, that's a good one. Before we get out of her, James, you got any questions?
Hello, Juan and Chris. Welcome. It's great having you guys. Before I ask a question, I just want to give a huge shout out to friend of the show, Brian Zavada, part of Tillis BJJ. He was on the show a couple episodes ago promoting his fight. He won by submission via rear naked choke. So congratulations, Brian Zavada.
Yeah, congratulations, bro. Sorry I missed the fight, man.
Yeah, it's been a crazy week. And then shout out Tillis BJJ too.
Oops. Sorry, wrong button.
But yeah. All right, guys. I'm very curious. My first question for you guys. How do you feel like the union in San Diego, like the unions over there, how do you feel like they're run? Because you guys have seen a lot, right? You guys even know a little bit about our locals. How do you think the locals in San Diego are over there?
Well, it's probably a great question for the membership. The contracts, our president, Todd Walters of UFCW, Secretary Treasurer Grant Tom, they negotiated some pretty cool things in the contract. The master food agreement, we've actually had record gains. People are losing their pensions right now, and they actually got another pension for the employees. So now the grocery workers have two pensions, And this isn't just in San Diego, California. This is Riverside. This is close here. Any Vons, Rouse, Safeway, you know. So it's a really good thing. And I think that part of negotiating contracts is part of the job of the president. And ultimately, the members are seeing the contracts, and our members are very happy for their contracts. CVS record contract, they did really well. You know, gosh, I'm trying to think. Kaiser, we're in Kaiser negotiations right now, and you know, Grant Tom is one of our. He is a great. He's like the Kaiser. He taught me how to be a union rep, basically, which is really cool. And I've gotten a lot of back pay for people, because remember, just because you have a contract doesn't mean you get paid right. Sometimes there's errors and there's back pay that has to be paid. So depending on who the leadership is, it just depends. But I think the dynamic has changed, especially with, you know, Raider and the Saint podcast, Union or Bust podcast. These labor leaders are just people who care about people you don't know. So you can be a labor leader and not be a union officer. You can be a union member who wants to, you know, care about people. So I think overall, you know, well, what I don't like is, you know, we're trying to pass a resolution to declare a genocide, and the people come down and try to block it, you know. But, you know, Juan and I are honey badgers too. We're older honey badgers, but we're honey badgers, and, you know, fuck around and find out.
Yeah, and also I think like that was your local. I think unions in general in San Diego, yeah, you got good ones and you got whatever ones, but as a labor council with all the unions under it, we were able to pass the first Gaza resolution to call it a genocide, and they followed suit. Like these leaders are people that we've developed relationships with, so we made phone calls, we made text messages to make sure that they would vote for it, and they listened to the people. They saw the writing on the wall. They read the temperature right. So I would say we are in good position in San Diego. San Diego used to be all Republicans, county board of supervisor, our mayor, most of the city council members in San Diego City. Now every single one of them in San Diego City Council is a Democrat. The mayor's a Democrat. The county board of supervisors, 3 out of the 5 are Democrats, and labor put them all into office. And we've been able to pass legislation that's been benefiting the workers.
And then name escapes me. There's actually a Republican on there that is pretty pro-union too. It's like that's what I'm forgetting. I think it's the county board of supervisors. I have to look it up. But he's, you know, county board of supervisors. It's actually really, really powerful. It's a powerful position. We had a shout out to Gracie Torres, and she was on our podcast a few times telling us about how you only need to convince how many people? 7 people to get something done, get money. How many people do you need to convince in Congress, U.S. Congress, or, you know? So county board of supervisors is gosh, I got to remember his name. I feel bad.
We won't give him a shout out because he's kind of turned his back on me, but whatever.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Joe Anderson.
Oh. Well, I don't know. You got to tell me.
Anyways, yeah, San Diego labor is pretty strong, so we've been able to shape the politics.
Yeah.
All of San Diego and school
That's
boards.
good.
So as labor, we're pretty strong.
Heck yeah. All right, man. Before we get out of there, won't you guys drop your show and your social media tags before we get out of here?
Okay, well, if you want to support the Union or Bust podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Union or Bust. I'm Chris Lopez, and I'm your union brother on TikTok, Instagram, all the platforms. And you can also follow the Union or Bust podcast, and it is on TikTok. It's Union or Bust podcast on TikTok, and it's Union or Bust on Instagram. So that's the only difference. But if you Google Bust, we're going to come up. So you just put us in your search engine.
Definitely. And Organizing Monster. And please like and subscribe our videos. Throw us into the algorithms. We appreciate everything. We appreciate the support.
Mhm.
Thank you for bringing us on. This is our first guest spot
Yeah.
for another podcast. So, but whatever you need, also from San Diego, we'd love to have you on
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. I'll take a
Come down to San
yeah.
Diego.
I'll make it a night trip though. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
want to go try some food.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like trying some food and hanging
Tacos al
out, dude.
Gordo or
So, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once again, thank you guys for coming to the show. I've been watching you guys for a while, watching you guys grow. You've had some really great guests. I do got to catch up on some of your podcasts, but you know, I'm definitely want to catch up on that Chris Smalls one, dude. But
Yeah, that's a juicy
you guys have some
episode.
heavy hitters, dude. But once again, dude, thank you guys. You know, you guys are friends of the show, family of the show now, dude. You're part of the show, so whenever you guys want to come on, you know, you guys got updates or you got something you got to get out there, you guys are more than welcome to come on the show. Once again, I want to thank all my listeners from around the world that tune in every week to the Raider Saint podcast. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. I'm out. Peace.
Thank you, everybody.